Okay. I don't know why it's so hard for us to just let there be peace. That's all we have to do is allow the peace that is already inherent in the universe to be present with us now. There's that place of perfect peace that we can go to each and every moment of every day. Many of us have practices where we take time out of our day to go to that place of peace, to remember what it feels like to be in peace. And to not just be in peace, but to be the peace that we're looking for, that we're seeking in the world. So the second Sunday of Advent, we celebrate peace. But we also want to make this a day of dedication. We dedicate our lives to peace. If we truly desire peace on earth and goodwill towards all people, it's really important that we first seek that peace within our own hearts and minds. It's also important that we do not expect others to do it before we do. We don't expect something to change out there before we accept that peace within ourselves. Because when you're in the dark, you are the one who might be called to be the light in that situation. You were placed on earth at this particular time to be the light of the world at this particular time. There's no sense lamenting the world at this point. But there's no sense cursing the darkness. Or like the sailor, instead of cursing the wind, just adjust your sails. That's what we're going to do today. We want to adjust our sails so that we can sail with the power of Spirit to bring peace wherever we go. Because blessed are the peacemakers. You are the children of God, or the ones that recognize God is in you. The children of God are just people who recognize, wow, whatever that is, if it created me, that's what I must be. And so I'm going to start acting like it. I'm going to stop judging others and pretending that conflict is the way of humanity. Conflict is the way that humanity will become extinct. That's all conflict is. The way of humanity is peace, is cooperation, is loving one another. We didn't get this far through our conflicts. We got this far by loving one another, by accepting one another, by being part of this great collection of souls, of people that have various talents and abilities and callings from their heart to bring to the world. And the greatest thing that we can do is to fulfill the calling of our heart. We can never obtain peace by thinking something out there is going to change. We can never obtain peace in that outer world until we make peace within ourselves. The great need of humanity is, not just in modern times, but all throughout history, has been the need for spiritual awakening. This is in the beginning of the book that we put together. Myself and Kathy Smith Brown added the photographs, the photography. This has been the great need for all time, for all ages, the spiritual awakening, the stirring of our souls to the individual, to a higher, more expanded consciousness, the discovery of the essential truth of our being. The goal is peace, peace within ourselves. What we awaken to is the perfection of the universe. We find a peace in that because now we have something we can flow with. We're not fighting against creation. We're flowing with it. The awakened mind is one that knows its oneness with itself. There's no, like your thoughts aren't conflicting anymore. Ooh, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that bring me a lot of peace if my thoughts weren't conflicting with each other? If I didn't one day get really upset and angry, and the next day feel loving and peaceful. And this roller coaster of emotions. And everybody goes, well, that's just human. You're just being authentic. Well, I'm being authentic in saying, I prefer that all my thoughts be in peace with one another. That I am at peace within myself. That I'm at peace with the universe. That I'm at peace with you. When your thoughts, your actions, your emotions are all in alignment with the truth, there is no more roller coaster between positive and negative. You realize something different. It's the third way. It's called perfection. I love our friend Debbie. When I ask her, how you doing, Debbie? She says, I'm perfect. How are you doing? Perfect. There's no good or bad. There's just perfect. We're so, let's say, conditioned. We've conditioned ourselves to look at things as negative and positive. We forget that it's perfect. We forget. That's all. And it's time to remember, because in that perfection, I find peace. The universe is unfolding as planned. I find peace there. Don't you? Yes. Yeah. And then you're able to help others like that. Like no matter what's going on, when you show up, they go, oh, everything's going to be all right. Everything's good now. You know, I have that feeling with some of you guys. You know, if I'm struggling with something and all of a sudden John Rosario shows up, I go, everything's going to be okay. We got it handled. We got it handled. I had that feeling when Annie and John came back. We're going to be just fine. You bet. There's so many of you. You walk into a room and if some of you are there, I feel like, okay, everything's healed and whole now. Everything's perfect. This is good. This is why we meet. This is why we come together. We create a space that we can come together in our truth, in our perfection. And the God within us comes out in the right and perfect way, in the most beautiful and unique way that you have to bring. So what you have to bring is different than what I have to bring. That's why we need to get together in that. We are one in truth, but if we don't get together in the peace that is inherent within us, we're not going to see that we are one. We're going to experience ourselves as separate. So it's very important that we have a practice of coming together in the truth. And this is the great need of humankind. I believe it was the mission of Jesus the Christ to help bring about the spiritual awakening of humankind. All of his teachings and all of his demonstrations provide a framework for the attainment of the expansion of my consciousness and peace. However, he was clear on this one ultimate goal of all spiritual practice, of all demonstration, of all spiritual truth, to be the attainment and the sustaining of a state of peace. That's what we're aiming to do. If we want to follow spiritual principles, if we want to live a spirit-filled life, our deepest and most immediate desire is a state of peace. He said, this is his last teaching to us. I'm leaving my peace with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. So it's not a peace that's temporary. It's a peace that's lasting and eternal. So let not your hearts be troubled. Don't be afraid. Because now you have a peace that's eternal. You have something to go to no matter what. No matter what seems to be going on out there, you know that place and you can go there. And that's the only reason I came, to give you that. So I'm not going to stand up here and list all the troubles of the world today. I'm not going to tell you all those things which tend to make my heart troubled. or afraid. I'm not going to reiterate the problems of humanity another time, but I am going to offer you the solution. That's my job. That's why I'm here. I'm here to acknowledge that, yes, you do experience the devastation of separation. I know that that is the experience of humankind on a mass scale. But there's something else always going on, which is far greater, which is 1 billion times more powerful. And that's the ongoing transformation of the human consciousness. Ongoing transformation of your consciousness. You are accepting spiritual truth and the experience of peace deeper into your heart and your mind each and every day. And guess what? When you do it, you know there are millions of others doing the same thing. You can feel connected to that. Sometimes we feel so separate in our spiritual path. But remember that whatever you're feeling, there are millions of others in the same place. You know, I meditate better in a group of people. So when I'm alone in the morning meditating, I imagine myself with 1 million other people who also like to sleep in the morning and don't get to their meditation till 9 a.m. Where's Leonard? I'm not going to meet you at the gym at 5:30. He's exercising at 5:30 in the morning. Not me. But when I'm there meditating at 9 a.m., I imagine all of you there too. First, you know what I imagine? I imagine the Sangha. But I imagine all the other millions of people who are meditating in that moment. Because I say, you know what? I'm not alone. And all of a sudden, wow, does that amplify my experience of peace and connection? I'm not alone. I'm not trying to withdraw from the world. I'm trying to connect to the world, connect to you, to connect in that place where there's no concern. Your heart is not afraid or troubled any longer. So the solution that we have, that we've been given, not only by Jesus the Christ, but by every spiritual teacher ever in this whole history of the world, is the attainment and sustaining of a state of peace. That's it. It's there in you. You can do it. You can break through all of that anxiety, all that tension, the worry, the fear. You can transcend it like that. Just like that. By going to the place of peace within you. Once we attain our experience of peace, then we can bring it to the world. Then we won't be afraid or troubled when the world judges against your path. We can be bold in the face of the judgments of the world because we've dedicated ourselves, our bodies, we've dedicated our minds, we've dedicated our souls to the proposition of peace now. Peace now. Because peace is not just the absence of war. Peace is a way of life. This is the kind of peace. It's not merely a temporary cessation of the violence, but it's a deep and lasting peace that comes from knowing who you are and from then teaching and sharing and demonstrating your divine nature with others. When you shine your light, you're giving others an opportunity to shine theirs. You're giving them permission to be one, to step out of separation. When you demonstrate and share and teach only love and only peace, others are going to just go, what's going on with you? I want what this guy's got. How are you healed like that? What makes you so special? I'm not so special. I just chose peace. I chose to give up separation. I chose peace. So true peace, this is Martin Luther King, is not merely the absence of tension. It is the presence of justice. justice. God's justice is this, from A Course in Miracles, that where you thought your body was, that's where the Christ exists. It's all light. So you look within your neighbor, and who are you looking for? You're looking for the Christ. Because right where their body is where the Christ is. That divine spirit lives within each and every one of us. Second principle of unity. That's the justice of God. So that's the justice that we seek, is that everyone has an opportunity to remember who they are and to demonstrate their unique qualities that bring God through them into the world. Everyone should have that opportunity. Now, this was something that was written in 1945 at the end of World War II, talking about peace. Tomorrow's peace must be more than the absence of armed conflict. It must be just, creative, and cooperative. So people were looking at, okay, now that the war is stopped, 1945, what are we going to do now? We need to have justice, which means there really has to be some kind of guardrails on how we treat one another. There has to be creativity in learning to include one another and give everybody an opportunity to express their Christ nature in this world, or just to be human beings, just to have life, just to have freedom, to have opportunity, to be seen, to be heard, to be enough, to be included. We need to be creative in that, and we need to be cooperative. Now, I know we don't see a lot of those things happening in these days, but I see it around here. I see it with my friends. I see it in this community. I see it in a lot of places. And I see that cooperation is much stronger than the division that you see on the surface. And so I choose to focus on that now. I know deep in my soul that human beings are capable of this kind of peace. I also know it's going to require a whole lot of love. It's going to require a whole lot of forgiveness. It's going to require a whole lot of spiritual awakening. But that's okay, because that's what's happening. I have a vision of a world powerfully transformed by what? Growing movement of our spiritual awakening. Yes, it's going to take a whole lot of spiritual awakening. So let's be about it, because that's where all the fun is. This is the reason that I've dedicated my life to the pursuit of peace. Not just peace on the surface. Not just a temporary absence of conflict, but a deep inner and outer peace that will be felt in the hearts of all humankind. And this will spread over the entire world. And it will endure, because peace is natural. So when you go into your prayer and your meditation this week and every week, remember that this is a peace. This deep inner peace that you feel is also expressed in the outer. It will and does become felt by every human being, and it does spread over the world in ways that endure. So keep your mind focused, my friends, on the truth of the good in each other, on the eternal nature that you are. Keep your minds focused on the love that's present at all times and all situations. Keep your mind focused on this gift, this Christmas season, this gift of peace. Because peace is our natural condition as spiritual beings. And I think it's really time to give peace a chance. Right? To teach only love, because love is still the answer, my friends. Love is still going to be the answer. In everything that we do, in every endeavor that we undertake, let's undertake it with a great sense of peace and a great sense of love. that we are bringing the Christ being within ourselves out into the world. Are you ready? Amen. Thank you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.